Hi, my name is Lokesh Kumar. So welcome back to my channel Cloud DevOps with Lokesh. So today our topic is Docker interview questions and answers. So this document I have prepared by taking a reference of ChatGPT and some other AI tools and also my personal experience. So this you see this. I hope you can visible this. So this questions based upon my experience and also I took reference from the ChatGPT. Okay, so scenario based, basic, and also so all clubbing together. So you can able to observe this video. So let's start. Let's get started. So this is Docker interview questions and answers. The first we'll start with the basic. Okay, what is Docker? I think it's look like little not that much good. So I already made this as a PDF. Let me open this. Yep, right. This will be good. Yep, it looks fine. Then that okay. As compared to that, it is much better. Okay, so what is Docker? Docker is an open source containerization platform that enables developers to automate the deployment, scaling, and management of applications. Okay, what is the purpose? Deployment, scaling, and management of the applications. To manage your application, to scale your application, and to deploy your application, we'll use Docker. Okay, it packages applications along with their dependencies into containers, ensuring consistency across multiple environments. So this is definition. Okay, what is a Docker container? Docker container is a lightweight standalone executable package that includes everything need to run an application, including the code, runtime, libraries, and dependencies. It runs an isolated environment, making deployments faster and more reliable. Okay, what are the benefits of using Docker? Portability, scalability, isolation, efficiency. You can consider these points. Portability means containers can run on any system that supports Docker, right? Scalability supports horizontal scaling across multiple hosts. Okay, to understand this, you must understand what is horizontal scaling and what is vertical scaling. If you add servers to the machine, that will be horizontal. Vertical means if you add multiple um, CPU, RAM, those comes under. Okay. So isolation ensure dependencies and applications do not interfere with each other. Yes. Okay. Applications should not be interfere one by one. So that this application should be different completely. Okay. So it should not be collide each other. Okay. So to make isolate, we can do that. Efficiency uses a shared kernel for better resource utilization. Okay. Next to versioning and rollbacks also. Easy to manage different versions and revert if needed. And how does Docker differ from virtual machines? How Docker is different from virtual machines? This is a comparison. Architecture. This is actually Docker is shares OS kernel. Okay, virtual machine, each virtual machine has its own operating system. Next, performance is lightweight and faster. Yes, virtual machine is heavy and slow because it occupies lots of memory. That's why it is heavy. That's why it is slow. Resource usage, it's minimal. It is too much high. And startup time, it takes seconds. It takes minutes. Next, portability, high, and virtual machine is lower due to OS dependencies. Next, what is a Docker image? A Docker image is a blueprint for containers. It contains the application's code, libraries, and dependencies. Images are immutable and stored in repositories like Docker Hub or private registries. This is so you can pull the image from the Docker Hub. Okay, and you can, if you want, you can able to create the image. You can push the image into Docker registry like that. What is a Docker file? A Docker file is a script containing set of instructions to create a Docker image. It defines the base image, dependencies, environment variables, and commands for running the container. Okay. Next, scenario based interview questions. Next one is okay. So regarding deployment microservices using Docker. Okay. Question will be, you need to deploy microservices based on application with multiple services. How would you approach this using Docker? The good question, right? Okay, answer is containerize each service. Okay, use Docker Compose, and you need to create networking and service discovery and load balancing, data persistence, and monitoring. So these steps are involved. So first, what is containerize and each service? Create separate Docker files for each microservice. Separate Docker file you need to create, okay, for each service, right? Next, use Docker Compose. Define service in Docker Compose .yml to manage multi-container deployment. Yes. Networking. Use Docker Network to create enable inter-service communication. Okay. Establishing communication, you need to create the network. Next one is service discovery and load balancing. Use Kubernetes or Docker Swarm to distribute the traffic. Yes. Data persistent. Use Docker volumes for stateful services. Okay. Next, monitoring and logging. Use Prometheus, Grafana, and ELK stack. Next, running multiple versions. So, question is, you need to run multiple versions of the same application in different containers. How do you manage this? Good question. Okay, first you need to manage tag properly. Okay, tag images properly, which means use software version 1 and software version 2 to distinguish versions. Use container names, assign unique names using hyphen name, isolate service using networks, create separate Docker networks, and define service in Compose. Define different services for each version. Next, testing and rollback strategy. Maintain a separate testing environment before rollout. Okay. Next question. How would you containerize a legacy application that require specific configuration and dependencies? Okay. So you need to list OS libraries and configuration. Next, to create a Docker file. Okay. So, and data persistence. You need to mount the data using volumes. Next, environment variables. You need to set up the environment variables. Next, testing and validation. Run the containers in a staging environment before production. Okay. Next, you need to set up networking for multiple container application where services communicate with each other. How would you do it? This is a question. Okay. See this question. Try to read and try to understand. So create custom network first. Your custom network using Docker network create. This is a network name. After the connect containers to the network. Docker network connect to my network service one. Next, use DNS based service discovery. Containers on the same network can communicate using their service names. Next, you need to expose the port, required ports. Use up you use IP in means it's represents for P. If you mention -p, ports will expose. To map container ports host ports. So question is how would you archive zero downtime deployment for an application running in Docker? So rolling updates, blue-green deployment, load balancing, and graceful shutdown. Okay. So using rolling updates, use Kubernetes rolling updates or Docker service update in SWAM. Blue-green deployment, deploy a version alongside the old one and switch traffic when ready. So use Nginx or traffic to distribute traffic across instances. So ensure application properly handle system signals. So some of advanced topics in Docker. What is Docker orchestration? Docker orchestration refers to manage multiple containers across clusters, ensuring high availability, scaling, and automated deployments. Tools include Kubernetes, Docker, Swarm, and OpenShift. Okay. What is a Docker overlay network? Docker overlay network enables communication between containers running on different hosts. You understood? Different hosts. Two different hosts are running in. Okay, so then in a SWAM cluster, it provides secure networking and service discovery. For that purpose, overlay network. What is Docker secrets? Docker secrets are actually secrets store manage sensitive information like passwords, API keys securely. They are encrypted only accessible by authorized services. So we will keep API keys and password sensitive data information will be stored in secrets. Same applicable to Kubernetes also. How does Docker handle multi-host networking? Docker provides overlay networking where Swarm creates virtual networks spanning multiple hosts, enables secure communication between containers. So what is multi-build in Docker? Multi-build allow you to use multiple from statements in a Docker file to optimize image size by copying only necessary artifacts into final image. This is a good question. So you will get this question definitely. So be careful and try to read multiple times. So how do you monitor Docker containers? Docker stands for real-time resource usage. Docker logs, container ID. Okay, if you use this, you will get logs. Tools like Prometheus, Grafana, ELK used also you can do. So next command for cheat sheet. Command Docker run, Docker PS. Docker run is for run the start the container. PS is already running container. Logs for view logs. Docker exec means run the command inside container. Docker stop means it will stop the container. Docker rm means remove the container. Docker build means it will build the image from Docker file. And Docker pull, it means it will pull the image from Docker registry or Docker hub. Docker push means it will push the image into repository. Okay, Docker network ls means it will show the networks, existed networks. So Docker volume ls means it will show the volumes. Docker compose up means once if you complete, if you write the complete entire scripting in the Docker compose, so if you want to start service, so you can use compose up. Docker compose down, so stop the remove services. Next, some of high level scenario based Docker interview questions. So you are responsible for deploying large scale microservices based application. So what strategy would you use to ensure high availability and scalability? This question is important. So you need to containerize the service, use an orchestrator, okay, implement CI/CD pipelines, ensure service discovery, and set up load balancing and monitor log services. So how you will containerize services? Use Docker package each Microsoft independently. Next, use orchestrator. What is orchestrator? Deploy service using Kubernetes or Docker Swarm for auto scaling for healing purpose. So most probably we are using Kubernetes. Okay, implement CI/CD pipelines. Automate deployment using Jenkins, GitHub, Actions, next GitLab, CI/CD. So enable service discovery. Utilize Kubernetes DNS based discovery or console. Set up load balancing. Use Nginx, HA proxy, high availability proxy or Kubernetes ingress to distribute traffic. Monitor and log services. So it is for Prometheus and Grafana is there. Okay. How do you implement zero downtime deployment for mission critical application running in Docker? Okay. Using rolling updates, implement blue green deployment, canary releases, graceful shutdowns, use feature flags. So what is rolling updates means? If you want to update your one version to other version, you will use rolling updates with Kubernetes or Swarm. So rolling updates most probably will be done by Kubernetes. So blue green deployments deploy the new version alongside the old one and switch traffic using load balancer. Okay. Next, can release, gradually roll out the changes to a set of users before full deployment. Graceful shutdowns ensure service handle signatrum signals to the avoid disruptions. Use feature flags. Deploy changes while controlling feature availability dynamically. Next, how do you deploy manage Docker container in a multiple cloud or hybrid cloud management? Multi-cloud and hybrid cloud. So use Kubernetes management workload across multiple providers. Next, to deploy containers using AWS ECS or Google or AKS, whatever. Use service mesh like Istio, Istio for cross-cloud communication. Use cloud storage solutions for or distributed database like Cockroach DB, like that. Implement CI/CD. Automate deployments across cloud using Terraform and Kubernetes help. What is security measures would you take to protect a Dockerized production environment? So minimal base image. Reduce attack surface with Alpine or displaced image. Restore less. Okay. Scan image for vulnerabilities. Use tools like Trave or Docker Scout. Okay. Implement least privilege principle. Run containers with non-root users. Use Docker secret environment variables. Use sensitive information. Docker segmentation. Restrict communication using Kubernetes network policy. Use centralized logging with ELK. Stack and blended. Regularly update dependencies, keep images update with the security patches. How do you manage stateful applications in a Docker environment? Using Docker volumes, empty stateful in Kubernetes, configure persistent storage, replicate data for high availability, implement backups and recovery plans. Okay. So some other topics, some advanced level. What is Docker content trust and why it is important? Docker DCT, ensure the authority, okay, authenticity and integrity of Docker images by allowing only signed images to be pulled and run. It uses crypto, cryptographic signatures to prevent unauthorized modifications and supply chain attacks. So, what is the difference between Docker, SAM, and Kubernetes? Complexity is simple and complex. It is manual scaling and it is auto scaling supported. It is built in and it is uses ingress controls. Self healing limited is for Docker. Kubernetes fully automated for self healing. Less adoption we have seen Docker adoption, Docker Swarm. Kubernetes are wide industry adoption. What is a service mesh and how does it work with Docker? A service mesh is an infrastructure layer that manages service to service communication with the Dockerized environment. Service meshes like Istio or Linkerd provide. It will manage traffic management, observability, security, resilience. How do you optimize Docker image size? Use multi-stage builds, reduce image size by copying only necessary artifacts. Minimize layers also. Optimize Dockerfile commands to reduce unnecessary layers. Remove unused dependencies. Keep only essential libraries. And use compressed base images like Alpine. What are the some common Docker challenges in enterprise environments? Security risks, network complexity, storage management, scalability issues, monitoring overhead. So Docker commands, Docker run -d name my container. This is container name. So once after finishing after the name, if you mention that is a container name. Next using a nginx -run container in detached mode. D means detached mode. Okay. Docker ps list running containers. We have seen this, right? Docker ps -a, it will show all. Docker stop my container. So it will stop the container. It will start the container. It will restart the container. It will remove the container. It will show the logs. It will execute. Okay. IT interact terminal mode. IT means. Okay. So image management, Docker images, Docker build -t my image, Docker pull nginx. So which means it will pull the nginx image. Okay. Docker push, it will push into your repository. Docker rmi my image. Remove, rm means remove, I means image. If you want to remove image, you can use this. No, next Docker management. Docker network ls, docker network create my network, docker network connect my network and my container, which means docker network it is connecting this network with the so and so container. Okay. And docker volumes ls, it will show the list of volumes. Docker it will create docker volume create a my volume with the name of my volume. It will create the volume. It will inspect, so it will check all volumes. So volume it will give complete data for using inspect. Next, docker volume remove, it means for it is especially for remove. Docker compose up hyphen d start services. Okay. Docker compose down, it will stop the services. Docker compose logs my service, which means it will compose whatever logs are there, it will show. Docker compose build, it will build the images. Docker commands inspect. Oh, what is this? Okay, fine. It will repeating. Okay, this you see Docker prune hyphen a means remove all unused containers. Docker stats, so it will show the running containers. Docker cp, it will show the copy files. It will copy the files. See here, you are responsible for deploying a large scale microservices based application. What strategy would you use? Ensure high availability? Container service, orchestrator, CI/CD pipelines, enable service discovery, set up load balancing, and monitor log services. These steps you need to mention. Okay. Next, what are the scenario based questions we have for Docker file? So, what is Docker file first? Docker is a Docker file is a script that contains a set of instructions to automate the Docker image. Okay. So what is this? How how would you write a Docker for Node.js application? This kind of questions you will get definitely. They will replace with the Node.js, Python, etc. etc. But you need to know minimum basic structure instructions from instruction, work directory instruction, copy instruction, run instruction, copy and comment cmd. I will let you know. From instruction means it will you will need to take the version of so and so image related you need to mention here. Work directory, particular directory. Okay. Copy package dot json. So these are all dependence packages. Run means it will run the it. This is actually command to run this Alpine, which means npm install Alpine. So it will install using this dependence copy. Next copy. Next cement command cmd. So node server.js. Next expose 3000. How do you optimize Docker file? So this is related to expose 3000 means on top of this 3000 it will run the Alpine image. That's what. Next question, how do you optimize? I forgot to mention this color. Let me do this live only, no problem. Yeah, where is that? Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. So use multi-stage builds to keep only necessary artifacts. Use Alpine Linux so and so image as a lightweight base image. Minimum layer by combining commands. So run apt to get update and apt install curl. Clean up necessary files after package installation. So how can you pass environment variables in a Docker file? This is a question. So you can use env instruction or pass them in at a runtime using env app equal to production at runtime. Docker run -e app so and so this much key, this is a value. How do you handle secret management in Docker file? do this color. So use Docker secrets, secrets and environment variables and mount external secret files. So like this examples given. So how do you handle dependencies Python based Docker file? You see, I already told, right? From instruction, you mention Python image with so and so version, work directory so and so place particularly wherever you want to install that. So you need to mention particular that app, copy requirements related, run what you need to run. So pip install. So this whatever how Python is running, you need to find out and you need to paste here for running this Python image. Next cmd python app.py. You are copying this. So after finishing it, it will move to here. So what is the difference between copy and add in Docker file? Yes, copy is used to copy files from the host to the container. Okay. Add means it will extract the files. Okay. So you can also extract the tar files and download remote URLs. That is the purpose. How do you catch a dependencies efficiency in Docker? So place copy package.json before copying the entire application to leverage layer caching. Copy package.json, run npm install and copy. It is copying, which means. So how can you execute script when container starts? So like this. So how do you handle logging in Docker container? Redirect logs struts like this. External logging drivers like this. Hyphen driver JSON so and so example given. What is the best way to persist data Docker container? Using docker run -v data app data so and so like this path. Expose multiple ports in a Docker file like this. Expose 8443. How do you implement health checks in a Docker file? Like this health checks hyphen interval 30 cmd curl so and so localhost if it is localhost or IP whatever. Next, how do you arg versus env arguments Docker file? Arg is used for during build time and cannot be accessed in running containers. Env persists throughout the container runtime. So how do you create minimal container image from scratch? Copy my command. So it is repeating. Anyways, this is all about some of the questions about Docker. Okay, so thank you so much. Thanks for joining. So please don't forget to subscribe my channel and like, kindly just like it. Just give one like. That's it. Just give one like, guys, please. So don't forget to subscribe also. So I will give more videos like this. I will try to prepare notes like this so it will be useful for someone at least. Okay. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching my video. So next video we'll see in next video. Until then, take care. Bye bye.